Okay, welcome to this video on working with polynomials. So here we'll show you several examples on addition, subtraction, how to multiply polynomials, and how to factor. So let's look at the addition example. Right here, you have two polynomials that we need to add together. So this trinomial with the next one right here. So the way you add polynomials is simply by grouping like terms together and simplifying each sum or statement. So 3x and positive 4x squared. The total is 7x squared. 7x and negative 9x together, when you combine, the result is negative 2x. And negative 5 with 2, negative 3. I hope this makes sense. How to subtract polynomials. So another example. This trinomial, take away, so please note it is shown in brackets. 2y squared plus 4y minus 5 is to be taken away from 6y squared minus 5y plus 3. So first, copy the first polynomial that was given, and then distribute the negative sign to 2y squared, negative sign to positive 4y, and when you combine negative 1 with negative 5, please note this will be positive 5 because you're multiplying negative 1 by each term inside of that second polynomial. Very important. Now all you have to do is group them according to the same variable and the same exponent. So 6y squared and negative 2y squared. Combine negative 5y with negative 4y. And finally combine positive 3 with positive 5. Put them together. So resolve. Find the difference between like terms. 4y squared, negative 9y, and positive 8. So any other case would work exactly the same. So just follow that simple rule. How do we multiply polynomials? So we will work with this example that has two binomials which are to be multiplied together. So the rule that we follow here is simply about the following. Grab the first term and connect with the first from the second subbracket and continue making that connection until you exhaust all possibilities. And then move to the next term and do the same thing. So 3 with negative 3x and eventually 3 with positive 4. So regardless of the length of involved polynomials that are to be multiplied, you would apply the same rule. So this is why after the product 2x and negative 3x is completed, you have shown right here. The next group is 2x times 4, and the following group 3 times negative 3x and 3 times 4. And now you have to pay attention whether you multiply two positive integers or both negatives, or one positive, one negative. So positive 2 and negative 3. So this is why negative 6 and x to the power of 4, because you add exponents. Remember the rules on working with powers. 8x is the result of an x product, negative 9x following, and 3 times 4 is 12. Combine like terms. So negative 6x squared stays by itself. These two guys above will result with negative x, and 12 is repeated. Just copy down. So factoring polynomials, We'll use the previous example when we multiply two factors, 2x plus 3 and negative 3x plus 4, and we'll demonstrate that factoring the result from previous example will give you the original question from previous page. So we will use the method called decomposition, and this is a method that does work all day long, all the time, 100%. So once you know this method, you can factor any polynomials, with the exception that that polynomial can be factored, because not all polynomials are factorable. So each trinomial has coefficients. So the first is a, the value of that is negative 6. The second coefficient is called b, the value of that is negative 1. And the last, the constant value is called c, and this is 12. So factoring polynomials is like playing game. Find the product of a and c always. First and the last is the product that you're looking for, and the sum is represented by the middle term b. So in our case, the product is found between negative 6 and positive 12. So we don't really care how much is the answer to this question. We have to think of how can I break it apart or into smaller factors, so when I combine those two factors, they will give me the following. They will give me the same product, obviously, but the sum condition also will be fulfilled. Since our sum is negative 1, so negative 9 and 8 was the only possible group of two factors that could be obtained from the product of negative 6 and 12. So once again, we didn't care that the value of the product is negative 72, because working with larger numbers later, you will discover that knowing the sum, the answer of the product is not that important, but prime factoring or breaking down into smaller chunks helps a lot in establishing those two numbers that they have to fulfill two conditions, product and the sum. So once we have established that negative x can be expressed as a sum of negative 9 and positive 8, so the middle term has been decomposed. So this is why decomposition method is called after that sort of operation. So copy the first term, negative 6x squared. Instead of negative 1x, you insert negative 9 plus 8, copy 12. And then you will follow with the following step. Group them in two groups of 2 in no particular order. So this is why negative 6 and negative 9, negative 6x squared and negative 9x as the first group. The second would be positive 8x and 12. And start factoring common factor from each group. So this is why negative 3 from the first group. And inside you have 2x plus 3. Then positive 4 common factor from group number 2. And the second binomial that you create is identical as the first, 2x plus 3. So once you see that you get a new factor, 2x plus 3 in our case, which is common for both, then this factor is being pulled outside. You factor it out, so you take out 2x plus 3, and you insert negative 3x from the first group and positive 4 from the second. So this is why negative 6x squared minus x plus 12 in factored form is equivalent to the following product of 2x plus 3 and negative 3x plus 4. I hope this makes sense. This video helped you to understand how to work with polynomials. and I hope to see you next time.